If the Nationals were to trade MacKenzie Gore, which we all expect them to do, they cannot wait for this season. They have to do it right now in the offseason.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And I am your host, Ryan Clary. I am part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. And later on in today's program, we'll have a discussion surrounding the winter meetings that are starting this weekend. And that's really kind of the expectation of when moves and trades start to happen. So we'll get into some timelines for MacKenzie Gore. When do I expect a trade to happen? If it does happen at all, we'll have that discussion for you later on in the show today. And of course, get into a potential CJ Abrams move. Kind of what do I think about the Jeff Passan report? We'll have more on that in the winter meetings later on in the program today. But in that Jeff Passan report, not really report, article, whatever you want to say, he did mention the fact that trades are going to happen, and MacKenzie Gore will be traded and will be traded at some point this year, but it might be happening in the season, but it really should happen this offseason. If the Nationals miss on that, I probably won't be thrilled. I'll tell you exactly why, but today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. And if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. If the Nationals were to not trade MacKenzie Gore now, I think it would be a big mistake. I think that what the Nationals need right now is talent. Are they going to go out there and sign Alex Bregman? No. Are you going to go out there and trade for Tarek Skubal? No. Are you going to go out there and sign a Bo Bichette? Are you going to be making a bunch of splashy moves? That's not the expectation. The expectation is for the Nationals to get young, major, and minor league talent inside this building, and that's exactly what they should be doing. And their first chess move is going to be trading MacKenzie Gore. At least that's what we think. In the Jeff Passan, not really report, but the article speculating around MacKenzie Gore, he mentioned the fact that, according to his projections, he gives a greater chance of CJ Abrams being moved during this offseason than MacKenzie Gore. Now, he's obviously probably more informed than I am. I've got no information for you on the insides and the details of that, but I at least know some baseball, and I know some of the Nationals here. I think it would be a big mistake, not only to trade CJ Abrams before trading Gore, but I also think it would be a big mistake not to trade MacKenzie Gore this offseason. You have to get yourself talent. And again, we just went through the talent of kind of what they need, the expectations surrounding that. But I think what this Nationals team needs to do is just rip off this Band-Aid. And it goes back into the discussion of value and what you get in return. Let's say that you are banking on MacKenzie Gore having a monster first half of the season. And if Paul Taboni truly feels that way, then again, we're probably going to have a different discussion then, if that's the case. But let's just say he does. Then, okay, maybe the value is a little bit higher at this upcoming trade deadline, but I'm not willing to take that risk. I think MacKenzie Gore's value right now will not be higher than what it is. We said it about this past trade deadline. If I were Mike DeBartolo, and who knows what was going on, and if the Lerner family didn't want him to make all those decisions, having that interim tag, but if it were up to me, I would have traded Gore this past deadline. Because again, you are not going to be getting the same haul this offseason for MacKenzie Gore than what you would have been getting in July when you were supposed to trade him, in my opinion. That's just the way that it felt like. And I think that this offseason, if you kick this thing down the road even further into the 2026 trade deadline, you are now going to be getting even less in value. I go back to the Juan Soto trade. The reason why the Nationals decided to trade him when they did was, number one, they realized that they had no talent outside of Juan Soto. Number two, you had to get something in return. And also, his value is at his highest. And if you waited until that offseason, this is how the GMs are going to think about it. When the Nationals traded Juan Soto, he had 2.5 years left of control. That is 3 postseason runs. If you're a team trading for a star player like a Juan Soto or a MacKenzie Gore, your team is ready to compete. That is you saying, we're going to win with this guy, and you only have 2 years left of control. Obviously, you're going to be in the win column, and you think that this is someone that will help you take you to that next level, whatever it could be. You want to win now. That is kind of the thought process of GMs. They look at it as, well, how many postseasons am I going to have? If you do wait to trade MacKenzie Gore, there's a lot of risk because, again, I think MacKenzie Gore is a great pitcher. I think the value of where he is sky high right now. But also, there's a tough reality to face if you do decide to hold on to him right now. Number one, you could be risking injury. Injuries are not something that every pitcher has it. And nowadays we talk about Tommy John surgery. Everybody has it. I'm not saying MacKenzie Gore is going to have it or he's going to have some drastic injury, but it's certainly in the cards. You've seen it time and time again with young pitchers. But also look back in 2022. He was shut down as soon as he came here in DC. He's had some blister issues. He had some shoulder inflammation that shut him down from this past season. I don't think it was anything serious, but still, it's something to keep in the back of your head. And then also he had that ankle issue as well during the season. There are some things that have popped up with him. Are you willing to take that risk? I'm not. So that's just one of the reasons as to why you should be trading him this offseason. And then number two, you're going to be risking the fact that maybe MacKenzie Gore blows up a little bit. With all these trade rumors, like again, Jeff Passan, everybody knows at this point that MacKenzie Gore is going to be traded. Imagine going into a season of which you know that you are going to be traded at some point. Going into that season, how do you not think about all the other things that comes with a trade? This is a real life person that goes through these different things. If I went into a job that I was like, well, I'm going to be here based in DC, but I also know I might be sent off to New York, or it could be sent off to Chicago or Seattle, the different culture there. I'm going to have to find a place to live, my girlfriend, the dog, whatever it could be. You have to change up your life. The way that he goes about being a National every single day, that does have effect on these players in a big, big way. And we have seen this when players are in trade rumors. Some guys, they can kind of put it away, but also some other guys simply cannot. And I'm not saying MacKenzie Gore is going to be the guy who can't put that away, but it's a real life situation. Everybody knows he's going to be traded. If you're going to move him, the time to do it is now. You're not going to get a better value at this year's deadline. The value right now is this offseason. The only exception that I think that I would make, and I'm not even sure if I'm all the way there yet, is if the Tigers do trade Tarik Skubal. If they trade Skubal, then that waters down the market. Your return might not be as great as what you had thought. And then I think that changes a lot of teams that are trying to go for Gore, because the teams that are trying to go for Gore will then pivot to try to get the best pitcher in baseball. That's just the reality of that situation. So that's a whole different story. And if that happens, and if that is rumored to happen eventually, which at this point it's not, then we can have a discussion of whether the Nationals should wait or if they should stay put and trade him now. But just to kind of wrap up this whole discussion, the reason this all stems from Jeff Passan. And Jeff Passan and Kylie McDaniel kind of saying that in their piece of like the top 30 most likely trade candidates and the likelihoods that they get moved this offseason, that MacKenzie Gore will be traded. It's 100% guaranteed at this point, according to Passan. But also, it might not be this offseason. And if it's not this offseason, it'll be this deadline. We just listed some reasons what could go wrong. And in my opinion, there's a flip side of the coin of it where it could go great and he's like a Cy Young contender and he's striking out, leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts. and then all of a sudden you hit the lottery there. But then also there's probably a lot more downsides to that equation. And I don't think that I am ready to take that risk. You need to get talent in this building to help you in 2026. You need talent. And I think that this is the best way to address that this offseason. You've done all the right things. You've made all the front office acquisitions. You've got the correct coaching staff here. But right now, I do feel as if the best move for this team is to just rip this Band-Aid off and trade MacKenzie Gore, hopefully during the next few weeks here. But I do want to get into a timeline because we've got winter meetings starting this week, and that's when things really get crazy in baseball. So free agents will be signing, maybe with the Nationals, and trades will be happening. We'll have that discussion for you and really what to expect with a Gore timeline of when I think he could be traded. I'll tell you all of that and more after this. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. And that's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. And with Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. And all you have to do is pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. There's no confusion, no hunting for fine print. And of course, the alerts for teams and matches make it easy to grab tickets the moment they drop instead of missing out. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets to the World Cup with every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. Join it today. We're back in it here on Locked On Nationals as we will be getting into, I'm not sounding the alarms on this one thing, but I'm not annoyed. I don't know what I'm feeling, but there's kind of a strange thing going on with the Nationals coaching staff that I do want to get into later on in the show today. And for all we know, a hire could be happening behind the scenes, but there's one thing that I do want to talk about with this coaching staff. Stay tuned for that discussion later on in the show today. But let's get into a MacKenzie Gore timeline with the big thing happening this weekend, the MLB Winter Meetings. This will be running from December 8th to 11th. This is kind of when I expect things to go down with MacKenzie Gore. And at my kind of perception for how I view things, I would not be surprised if MacKenzie Gore is traded within the next week. I am bypassing the Jeff Passan article, report with Kylie McDaniel, whatever you want to make of it. I'm bypassing it at this point. I think that you will get some real clarity on MacKenzie Gore in the coming days as we lead up to the winter meetings. You'll see Jeff Passan with boots on the ground in just a few days. And you'll see different rumors from John Heyman and Bob Nightingale. And you'll see it from Andrew Golden in the Washington Post. You'll see all the rumors happening in baseball. But I do believe we will know whether MacKenzie Gore will be traded or not by sometime Monday or Tuesday. I think as soon as you see Jeff Passan kind of talking on ESPN and MLB Network giving out their reports of saying teams are in on MacKenzie Gore and the Nationals are really ramping up their talks with teams about Gore. Maybe it's about CJ Abrams as well. But I do feel as if this will come to a head at some point within the next week. And I think that we will have some kind of clarity on this situation. And I feel as if that the Nationals and where they are today, it's in their best interest to try to make this move happen. Like, the more rumors and the more things that kind of get kind of screwed within the fans, it just isn't the best situation. Like, you don't want to have one of your star players in trade talks forever. I think it's bad for the players. I think it's bad for the clubhouse. And I do think it's bad for the fans. It's kind of something you have to string along. And yes, it's a business at the end of the day. But also, I just feel as if, like, with Paul Taboni and this new front office, there's this fresh cologne. Everyone's so happy with what they are doing. This is one thing that I think could kind of separate them from the fan base a little bit. And if it's the best practice for them and we don't know anything, then yes, go for it. They know more baseball than what we do. But also, this is a situation that, quite frankly, I don't want to be talking about every day. I don't think you guys want to be listening about this every day. If we have to go with this process for the next 6, 7 months, that's not going to be fun for anybody. It's not going to be fun for MacKenzie Gore. And we talked about the risk and everything that could be happening with it. But I do feel as if we'll have some true clarity. And I do think you will see a MacKenzie Gore move in the next week. There hasn't been any smoke about it leading up to this, but the winter meetings and what this is about, you are going to be seeing trade packages flying off the walls. You're going to be seeing proposals and reports of the Nationals want this top prospect from this team that's in on MacKenzie Gore. You're going to be seeing that the Nationals are asking for crazy things and they're asking for a king's ransom in return. You'll see that teams are offering nothing for MacKenzie Gore. You're going to see all the rumors. And I think that those rumors, that will be a lot of smoke. And I think eventually we will find a fire. And I think within that, you will see a MacKenzie Gore trade happen at some point. But I also want to get into the CJ Abrams part of this because, again, Jeff Passan is like the king of reporting when it comes to Major League Baseball. Jeff Passan don't miss. He is a very plugged in person, obviously, the best baseball reporter that we've got. And Jeff Passan did say in his piece that there's a 35% chance that CJ Abrams gets moved compared to MacKenzie Gore with only a 30% chance of being moved this offseason. So I think that you will hear some things about CJ Abrams, but I'm going to stick to my guns. I still don't think CJ Abrams gets moved this offseason. If it is, I'd be really interested to see a return and kind of how teams think of him. This is a former All-Star. He's entering the middle of his prime. He's a very talented middle infielder. And I think that he's someone that would be a huge piece for this team here in DC, but also maybe a huge piece elsewhere. But obviously, with these winter meetings, I'm probably most interested to see what is said about CJ Abrams. Because at these winter meetings, you've got GMs talking to other GMs who then talk to reporters who then tell you, the fans, about what they are hearing and what the speculation is. And I think that with CJ Abrams, this was kind of a surprise to me, honestly, that a lot of people are expecting him to potentially be traded. And it's a bigger surprise that they think that he's going to be traded over MacKenzie Gore, which we've covered here. But I do want to see what people are saying. Because if they are saying that you could get a really good return for CJ Abrams, I don't know what that return could look like, but let's say a team's couple of their top prospects, maybe you make a deal like that happen. And maybe that then Paul Taboni is like, well, Ryan, you want value in return. That's what you want out of this. You believe MacKenzie Gore is probably the most valuable piece, but what about our potential star shortstop / second baseman / outfielder maybe someday down the road? That is someone that is very valuable. So in that scenario, maybe you do see a CJ Abrams move, and maybe that's the kind of value, and teams are going to be coveting someone of CJ Abrams' caliber, because I do think with the power and the speed potential, it is there for Abrams, and there is a case to be made for him being a very good trade piece of someone who could get you a ton in return. But is now the time to trade someone like Abrams? For me, it's not. But maybe someone who sees baseball differently within this front office, they may see that the time is now to trade him. And because you could use the same argument as to why you should trade MacKenzie Gore now, and you could use that argument for CJ Abrams. I just hold everyday position players at a higher rate, and I think that with what the Nationals are at right now, you kind of need CJ Abrams if you want any shot at being good over the next 2 years. So there's a lot to watch over these next few days, and not even to mention the free agency part of it. The Nationals have not been rumored to be in on like any free agents at this point. They have made like a handful of minor league signings, a former top 30 A's prospect the other day, but that's not really threading the needle here on Locked On Nationals. So we'll see the free agency rumors. I do expect the Nationals to sign a pitcher because you will see agents there. Scott Boras will be there. Rock Nation will be there with CJ Abrams. There's going to be a lot of different guys there at the winter meetings down in Orlando. But I think obviously the trade talk for the Nationals, that's going to be at the forefront of it. Secondary, you'll see a lot regarding when the Nationals will sign someone. Who will it be? Will it be some middle tier starting pitcher? Will it be a trade? Who knows at this point? But this will be Paul Taboni's first winter meetings as an official executive for the Washington Nationals. So it's going to be interesting. And we'll have all of that covered and more the following week. But next, I want to get into this kind of a weird situation going on with the coaching staff. I'll tell you what that weird situation is after this. NFL Sundays move fast in one big play, and suddenly everything feels different, and that's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, and every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. Like tonight, a Jahmyr Gibbs anytime touchdown score against one of the worst rushing defenses with the Cowboys. That's going to be a lock. And also Jared Goff over on the passing yards against the Cowboys D tonight. I would love to see that happen. Who wouldn't in the DC area? So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. So there's something kind of weird happening right now with the Nationals coaching staff, and I don't think it's anything to sound the alarms over, but they have yet to hire an official hitting coach. But they have an assistant hitting coach with Andrew Tate, who is like a 28, 29-year-old kid, not a kid, he's an adult, from Driveline Baseball. And I think that it's just weird at this point. Like, there's nothing to make of it. Like, I'm assuming behind the scenes, they probably have a handshake deal with someone, but they're waiting to sign. Maybe they have a trick up their sleeve. Maybe they're going to hire it over the winter meetings and they're going to take a couple interviews for guys that they believe may be best fit for the job. I don't know at this point, but the thing is, it is a little strange. Like, you've seen this happen time and time again, and it's not all like uncommon in baseball. But I think for like this new staff, and the hirings came out so quickly, and it felt as if they had everything kind of lined up and ready in order. But it's not to say that like they're disorganized or anything, but it is a little out there, I guess, that they haven't made a hiring yet. Now, as far as the hitting coaches go, that is obviously a big deal for this team. Like, they have made it very well known that coaching matters, and coaching is going to be at the forefront of what they do. They have hired a great coaching staff so far. They've assembled a ton of young talent, analytically driven guys. And I think that if you're thinking what I'm thinking, this hitting coach is probably going to come out of left field, figuratively speaking. This is going to be someone that we probably don't know. And honestly, I kind of dig that. I think that this is going to be something that a lot of people in today's game may look at and say, well, is this the best thing for this team? Like, should you be getting someone with big experience? Should be trying to get and hit a home run with the hitting coach hire? Like, I don't know. But one thing that we do know about Taboni and Butera is that at this point with this coaching staff, they don't really care too much about major league experience. And I think that's okay, because baseball is in a totally new place from where it was 10 years ago. Do you need someone who was in the Royals dugout in 2015? Probably not. Do you need someone from the Braves dugout in their run in the 2010s or the Nationals dugout in their 2010s? Probably not. Today's just a different game. And I think the Nationals, in the way that they have made these hires through the front office and as well as this coaching staff, they're not just looking at how to make this team better in 2026. They're looking at how to make this organization better for the next 5, 10 plus seasons. So as far as a hitting coach now, while it is a little out there that they have not made a hire just yet, I'm not sounding the alarms on anything. And I think that with where the Nationals are today, I, I'm expecting a name that I probably have not heard of, and that's okay. I think that this is going to be a new regime, a new era here in DC that we've covered here on Locked On Nationals, and I think that it's going to be something that a lot of fans will rally behind because they've made a ton of great hires so far. So I think it'll be fine, but it's definitely a talking point that it's December 4th and we are yet to have a hitting coach. So, naturally speaking, you'll see a hitting coach hired today. I bet that's going to be my guess. But it is something to talk about. And I'd be curious to know what you guys make of it right now because you've got an assistant hitting coach, but who's the actual hitting coach? We don't know at this point. But thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen. If you notice a little bit of a different maybe camera view or whatever you want to say, it's because I'm on a different laptop right now. I broke my charger the other day, so we're using a backup laptop. So we'll have the laptop back up ready to go on Monday. But until then, you have a good one and go Nats.